Fulda Gap Field consists of 70-plus acres in the foothills of North Carolina. The terrain consists of everything from open fields to ravines and creek beds. Trees are plentiful, and so is the underbrush in places. Be aware of your surroundings. Check what you are about to crawl through or walk over. With a field this large, it is hard to keep poison ivy off the field. Most of the playing areas are clear of heavy brush, but when traveling between objectives is when you might run into dense underbrush. The Fulda Gap map is available to print off of the website. The field is extensively bounded by orange or yellow tape. Please, for your own safety, do not cross these boundary lines. Some important things to remember. Do not lose your ID tag. Make sure it is tied to your person securely in your game pouch. Wear your team tape clearly. Team color tape, 6 inches minimum, must be worn at all times on the front and rear of your mask. No changing of team color on either side. You cannot pick tape up off the ground or get it from any other source other than from your team's general or from the game staff. Play the field as is. No modifications or vandalizing the field, props, or personal equipment. Wiping paint, any form of cheating, or unsportsmanlike conduct, overshooting, fighting, foul language, etc., will not be tolerated. If you are found cheating, you will be expelled from the game and not allowed to return.
You will notice that we have 2 types of referees at this game. The traditional referee in orange or yellow, and the purple shirts who are zonal heads. One thing to remember is, do not argue with the referees. The referees are here for your safety and for the enjoyment of the game. Do not argue with the referees.
No physical contact is allowed between players, with the exception of a barrel tag or handshake. Fighting or any aggressive physical contact will result in law enforcement being called. You want to fight during a game? Choose hockey. Daytime game speeds will be a maximum of 280 feet per second. Night game speeds will be a maximum of 250 feet per second. You will be expected to chronograph and have your ID card punched by a ref before the game Saturday, before the night game Saturday, and before the game Sunday. A majority of the refs will be carrying hand chronos and will be spot checking speeds throughout the event. If you are found shooting over 280 feet per second, you will be asked to return to the store and re-chronograph your marker. If you are found shooting over 300 feet per second, your ID will be punched for a point loss for your side, your name logged on the ref sheet, your hopper pink ribboned, and you will have to return to the store to repair and re-chronograph your marker. A second infraction will result in suspension from the field. Markers that are shooting hot are a serious safety hazard. A paintball traveling faster than 300 feet per second can shatter a goggle lens. Hot firing will not be tolerated, period. Safety goggles must be worn by anyone in the playing field and chronograph target range at all time. Only unmodified ASTM goggle systems specifically approved for paintball that provide full face and ear protection are allowed. Even if fogged or paint covered, do not remove your goggles for any reason on the field or chronograph area. To do so will result in your removal from the game. No exceptions, no refunds. Retire to a dead zone, your camp, or to the store to clean your mask. A barrel blocking device, BBD, also called a barrel sleeve, must be installed on your marker at all times except when shooting over the chronograph or playing in the game. Barrel plugs are not allowed on this field, and BBDs may be purchased in the store if needed. No climbing of trees, vehicles, or any structure 4 feet or higher. Castles, forts, or towers must be clearly marked in the field of play and meet our safety guidelines. No jumping from towers or any structure, as well as across trenches. Injuries need to be reported to a referee as soon as possible. We have professional emergency medical techs that will respond if necessary. Use only event paint as supplied by our sponsor Valken, as off-premise paint hits will not count your opponent as out. Use only cold smoke that has been approved by the game staff. You are responsible for the smoke you throw. If it starts a grass fire, call yourself neutral and put it out immediately. Discharging of markers in the parking or store area will not be tolerated, and will result in your expulsion from the field. Do not shoot any field animals, wildlife, referees, or support vehicles. We are not responsible for what happens to you if you shoot an animal. There is absolutely no air-on marker repair allowed in any public area whatsoever. Any repairs must be done at a chronograph station, vendor site, or in your campsite with a barrel blocking device on your marker at all times. You cannot fire your marker at any time except at the chrono station or on the field, period. You cannot fire your marker at your campsite, in the woods next to your campsite, or in your vehicle. Doing so is not only a safety hazard, but a blatant show of disrespect for other safety. If you are found firing your marker in the camping area, or anywhere but an approved area, you may be asked to leave the event. Avoid close shots if at all possible. If you are within 20 feet, allow the player to surrender first, or shoot a low-impact area like legs or feet. Be courteous. Blind shooting. Shooting without visually seeing where your balls are impacting, or without looking down your sights, is not allowed. An example of this is holding your marker around a corner and firing. Violators will be counted as eliminated. Overshooting. which is the repeated shooting of an already eliminated player, is grounds for elimination or, if deliberate, removal from the field. Allow all suspected hit players to call themselves out. Be sure to loudly call yourself as hit if you are to prevent overshooting. Shooting a player with a barrel sleeve mounted on his marker is overshooting, provided that the player has his marker and sleeve clearly visible. Full autos, RTs, and electronic guns are welcome. However, there is a 13 ball per second limit. A violation of this rule is the same as a chronograph violation. Refs will be checking with special equipment. No tools to adjust markers are allowed on the field. No laser sights or pyrotechnics are allowed. Players must use their authorized entry point to access the game. This is the Warsaw entry, located at the northeast corner of the field past the vendor area. And this is the NATO entry, located at the southeast corner past the NATO camping area. If you leave the field for any reason, air, paint, water, you are considered out. You must come back into the game via your authorized entry point. There is no shooting or posting within 100 feet of an entry point. If a ref catches you, you will be considered eliminated and you will get your card punched for a point loss. If you are hit by a paintball, it must break and leave a break mark no smaller than 1 inch for you to be eliminated unless you call yourself out. Hits count anywhere on your body or equipment, including guns and hoppers. Any amount of paint from a paint grenade on your body or equipment count as an elimination. If you are eliminated, call hit. Immediately install your BBD, raise your gun in the air, and return to one of your assigned dead zones. You may immediately re-enter the game after you tag in. If under fire, face away from where your enemies are firing from and exit play by the fastest, safest route. Putting both hands and marker in the air is a good idea as well, because it leaves no doubt as to your condition. Get out of the way fast if you are in an area that is under heavy fire. Do not talk, act as a shield, trade equipment, give equipment or ammunition to your teammates, or participate in radio chatter. If you are unsure if you have been hit, call for a paint check if a referee is available, otherwise use the honor system. Wipe off all wet paint in the dead zone before re-entering the game. During the night game, any hit or impact is considered out. It doesn't matter if it breaks or not, you are out. There cannot be any paint checks at night, so put your barrel blocking device in, raise your marker, and head to the dead zone. Remember, dead men do not tell tales. This is an honor situation. If eliminated, do not talk until you get to the dead zone. Anyone wearing a ghillie suit is out if hit at all, anywhere. The hit does not have to break. There are 6 dead recharge zones currently on the map. Some of these dead zones are conditional use, meaning your side can lose them if certain bases are lost. The field store is not a dead zone. If you have to go to the field store for supply, you will still need to go to an appropriate insertion point to re-enter the game. There will be dead zone refs around all dead zones and entry points. They will be responsible for safety and reinsertion. There will be dead zones in each battle area for each side. No shared dead zones, although you may use any dead zone for safety issues. If you find yourself in an enemy dead zone, make your way to one of your own dead zones before re-entering the game. Dead zone camping. There is no shooting or posting within 100 feet of a dead zone or entry point. They will be marked with white tape around trees surrounding the dead zone. Dead zones are there for the convenience and safety of the players and hold no strategic value. If a ref catches you within 100 feet of an enemy dead zone, you will be considered eliminated and will have your card punched for a point deduction. When you are tagged out, call hit, put your barrel sleeve on, and proceed to the nearest dead zone. It is important you know where they are located so you can get to them quickly and get back in the game. The dead zones will have water, and if your dead zone is running low on water, please inform a referee. Take this opportunity to catch your breath, drink some water, and reload. It is very important to drink plenty of water during the event to prevent dehydration. We also recommend drinking water and electrolyte-type drinks when you are off the field. When you are reinserted, make your way back to your unit. They may have moved by the time you get there, so have a map handy and know your unit's objectives and battle plans. Surrender. The surrender rule is also known as the 20-foot rule. If you get within 20 foot of someone and they do not see you, you can call out surrender. At this point, the other player has one of 2 options. They can raise their marker and surrender, or they can turn and fire on you. If they turn to fire, you had better be ready to fire yourself. This could create quick draw situations, but calling for a surrender is considered a courtesy, so as not to light someone up when they are within 20 feet to avoid a painful hit. We would recommend surrendering, but it's your choice. The person calling for the surrender has outmaneuvered you and has done the honorable thing by asking for surrender. Be equally honorable and accept the option. Remember, if you call for surrender, not everyone will, so be ready. Barrel tag. A barrel tag is when somebody sneaks up on you, taps you with their hand, not barrel. At this point, you are eliminated. This is not an option. You cannot turn and fire, period. If barrel tagged, you must put your BBD on, raise your marker, and leave the field quietly. A barrel tag or surrender is the only time you are not required to call out in a loud voice, "Hit." By the same token, if you barrel tag someone, just touch them with your hand and say barrel tag. Do not jab or hit them with your barrel or anything else for that matter. Paint check. During the day games, if you are hit and not sure if the ball or grenade broke, you call for a paint check by a ref. With more than 1,000 players on the field, there may not be a ref right next to you, so if a teammate is, ask him or her if you are hit. If you are, then do the honest thing and call yourself out. During a paint check, you are still in play and can be eliminated at any time while waiting, and other players can still maneuver. A paint check does not make you neutral and cannot suspend play. You cannot call a paint check on another player. Bunker tag. Command Decisions Wargame Center has a variety of structures and fighting positions on the field. Some of these structures are strategically placed, hardened, and make great defensive positions. However, to minimize close shots, a bunker tag rule is in effect. Certain bunkers will be marked by an orange diamond. To eliminate all players inside a diamond bunker, you must shoot them through the firing ports from a distance, or slap the diamond with your hand while yelling bunker tag. This action simulates throwing a grenade into the bunker. If you are inside a diamond bunker and hear bunker tag, then you are eliminated. If you are outside the bunker, you are not eliminated. Players in diamond bunkers may also be eliminated with authorized satchel charges thrown on or against the bunker, or with a direct hit from a Nerf rocket fired from an authorized card-carrying AT gun, tank, or grenade launcher. Grenade launchers are commercial Nerf-firing launchers, the same as AT guns, although they cannot eliminate tanks. See the tank utilization rules for more information. If a bunker or emplacement does not have a diamond emblem, then the bunker tag rule does not apply, and the players using them for cover must be eliminated in a conventional manner. Night game. The night game can get very intense. Sometimes firefights happen at very close quarters. Give your opponent the opportunity to surrender before you shoot, if at all possible. There are many times this will not be possible or feasible, but please try the best you can. All markers must be chronographed at 250 feet per second or less. There are no paint checks at night. All hits count as an out, whether the ball breaks or not. It is highly recommended that you carry a flashlight with you in case of emergency or if you get lost. This is a big playing field and everything looks different at night. Each side will be allowed only 15 night vision units during the game. There is no limit to flashlights or spotlights. Paint grenades are ineffective at night, so don't waste them. There are no paint checks at night. If you are injured in any way, call out for a medic. There will be game medics at Fulda Gap. All ranking officers and most refs will also be carrying first aid kits. If you are injured, make sure we know about it and seek proper treatment. No game is worth permanent injury. Radios. There will be a lot of radios at Fulda Gap. The staff will have FRS 1 through 5 reserved for instruction, direction, and emergency use. You can listen to these channels, even though it will serve no purpose for you to do so. Do not talk on them unless you have an emergency, or otherwise tamper with these channels for any reason, or you will be expelled from the event. It is highly advised that you permanently label your radios with your personal information. Tank, bridge, and bunker rules. Bunkers, bridges, foot or vehicle, and special targets can be temporarily taken out of play with special mission cards and satchel charges. Blown bridges will be marked by tape and signs indicating their status. No one can cross a blown bridge by foot or vehicles. However, bridges can be repaired with additional special mission cards or by continuously holding either side of the bridge for half an hour with someone with an AT card present. Anti-tank, anti-bunker. Pneumatic-powered rocket launchers, RPGs, can eliminate tanks, diamond bunkers, and other designated structures on the field and anyone inside of them. The target must be directly hit, no bounces, with a factory-manufactured, soft Nerf football-type rocket. On missions, a judge must be contacted and shown an AT card beforehand, and must be present whether the mission was successful or not. In mission play, if an attack is successful, the structure will be taped off as destroyed. In non-mission play, the structure can be immediately reoccupied, except for tanks. There is a limit to the number of RPG gunners, and they must attend the same safety brief that the tankers do and have their device checked by the staff members. No homemade RPGs made with plastic pressure chambers are allowed. All launchers must be approved for play by staff before the general can issue an AT card. An alternate to the RPG is a grenade launcher, which is usually smaller and mounted on a regular marker. These devices fire Nerf or small foam rounds that can only eliminate diamond bunkers. Grenade launchers cannot eliminate tanks, nor disable them in any way. There are no blast radius rules, as Nerfs should never be fired at individual players, only structures. There is a limit to the number of grenade launchers on the field, and you must possess a Grenader card to use one. All launchers must be approved for play by the staff before the general can issue a Grenader card. Another way of eliminating tanks is through the use of anti-tank mines, as issued by a general, as they are a numbered and controlled item. These are marked and weighted pie plates that are emplaced by anti-tank gunners. If a tank runs over a plate and makes contact with it, then the tank is eliminated, as well as the mine. If a player, other than an AT gunner, emplacing or removing, touches or steps on a mine, then they are eliminated as well. Mines can be replaced, but only a limited number are available for use at any one time. A satchel charge, as issued by a general as they are a numbered and controlled item, can be placed or thrown on top of or next to the targeted structure, including tanks, and eliminate them if they make contact with the structure. You do not have to be an anti-tank gunner to use a satchel charge. You may not reuse a satchel charge once thrown, and they need to be returned to your general after use for recharging. Pull out the card in each satchel charge and present it to a ref or tank crew in the event of a successful attack with it. Tanks. The use of paintball tanks, provided that they are under a strict set of guidelines, add an enormous amount of fun and strategy to a paintball game. Armored vehicles on a real battlefield either dominate or are metal coffins for the crew. These rules will attempt to balance safety with effective tank strategy on the field. The tank rules are discussed in detail on their own page. Do not approach or be within 15 feet of an in-play tank, or you will be counted as eliminated. Players may not bunker tag tanks or eliminate the driver with paintball hits. Do not shoot the vision blocks of the tank or shoot at the tank driver. A designated safety referee will accompany the tank. If a tank is eliminated by a mine, satchel charge, or AT weapon, it will either withdraw off the playing field or stay in position depending on the game and the safety situation. In either case, the crew is eliminated and at least one must proceed to a dead zone as any other player. Reactivations of eliminated tanks involve an uninterrupted 15-minute repair by a single tank crew member after returning from the dead zone, or 15 minutes off-field in the tank park. A tank that is reactivating on the field must do so behind their own lines, and the reactivation must be announced by the safety walker 1 minute prior and every 15 seconds thereafter until activation. Tanks cannot activate behind enemy lines unless they are entering the field through their designated tank entry point. Do not climb on, use for cover, or enter a tank under any circumstances, even eliminated ones. Generally speaking, unless you possess anti-armor markers, your best tactic is to avoid tanks. Tankers and anti-tankers, you will have a meeting at 0900 Saturday morning. Please have your AT and AT card in hand at the end of the vending area by the tank park. Assignments, missions, and re-entry. Each side's commander will issue mission assignments at the beginning and during each phase. The commander or general can be eliminated just like any other player, and if they are out of play, then the assignments may be temporarily interrupted. Protect your generals, but most importantly, listen to them. At the beginning of the game, you will be assigned to a team, squad, or company, and will generally be with the same team throughout the game. Through the general or their designate, you will be given missions that must be completed for points. Additionally, the general may issue special equipment necessary to accomplish certain missions. If you are eliminated, you should report back to your squad leader or another officer for reassignment or relinking with your team. In the event that you need to retire from the field, gun maintenance, or rest, you still need to tell your squad leader or general so that they know the status of their forces. Many games have been lost when too many players left the field without letting their command structure know. Mission cards. These are to be issued by the general and given to the squad taking on the mission objectives. If a ref is present at the beginning of the mission, the card may be given to him and he will observe that the mission criteria are met, fill in the card, and then turn it into the game control. There must be a ref present to validate a completed mission, so make sure you find one before you end your mission. Finally, by the nature of this game, there will be referee-supported events, usually dictated by the opposing generals, which could cause entire bases to be eliminated, and all players in them. These are called WMD attacks, and may come in 3 very different forms. Nuclear weapons, or more appropriately, tactical nuclear devices, are a very powerful, but thankfully very limited tool in the belt of the NATO and Warsaw Pact generals. They will eliminate a 100-foot diameter area of the field for the entire event phase once initiated. If used on a base, that base will be out of play for that day or night phase, and thus cannot be used for points. Nukes will be delivered via referee in a very loud and visually spectacular manner. That area will be considered irradiated, and any player from either side who enters the area will be counted as eliminated. The irradiated area will be marked with boundary or danger tape until safe to enter. They cannot be used to eliminate dead zones or entry points. Airstrikes. Like a nuke, but not as powerful, airstrikes will be simulated loudly by refs at points determined by the generals and coordinated through the game coordinator using a grid system. The impact point will be where the ref feels that they are close to the grid coordinate or specific building or bunker target dictated by the FDC as called in by the general. An airstrike or mortar barrage affects the approximate 50-foot radius from the point of impact as determined by the ref in place. A hit eliminates the target, the players inside, and all exposed players within 50 feet. The target can be immediately reoccupied by players, not eliminated by the blast after the refs clear the structure. A strike or barrage does not take out entry points, dead zones, or flag stations. Chemical weapons. Chemical weapons or poor man's nuke will be simulated by orange smoke that will be issued by each side's general. Anyone caught by a referee in an orange smoke cloud without donning their simulated protective equipment, a dust mask over your paintball mask, immediately will be counted as eliminated. Once the cloud has dissipated, you may take off your chemical mask. Remember, smoke travels with wind direction, and it could happen that you may gas your own troops by mistake. Use these weapons under direction of your general or officers. Regular smoke will not be considered as a chemical weapon.
If you have any questions about the rules, be sure to check the marquees both in the camping area and in the vending area that have all the rules posted. If you have additional questions, be sure to get a purple shirt or the head ref and ask that individual question. Thanks for watching the safety video. Once again, if you have any questions, please get with a staff member. Have a great game, have fun, play with honesty and integrity, and I'll see you later.